All right, well, I'd like to welcome everyone for joining us here today on May 28th at 1:30 p.m. And I also particularly like to thank Becky, our board member Becky, for being here today because it's her birthday. So, you know, and if she wants to celebrate her birthday by coming to the outside board meeting, we're very lucky. Happy 85th birthday. Okay. Oh, yes.
Now wait until you what you get on the.
No. No. Happy 39. Sorry, so we do not have a closed session today, so just FYI to everybody. And so again, we are thankful that everybody is here safely after Memorial Day weekend and Delphus. So we'd like to start first with the review and approval of the minutes and financials, and we have multiple on that today. So first, I'd like you to look at the open minutes of January 30th, 2024.
I reviewed them. I assuming everybody else did. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, then the open minutes of January 30th, 2024 stand approved as submitted. Okay, the open minutes of February 16th, that was the special session. February 16th, 2024.
So.
Okay, well, we have that for our started. Yes, we have a second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay, then the minutes for February 16, 2024 stand approved as read. March 6th, the River Park project information session, 2024. If you would look at that as well. I already hear us. Okay. Good. Slow down. So they opened minutes of March 6th, 2024. Go ahead. Yes. Brad, appreciate that. Do I have a second? All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. All in favor, say aye. All right, any opposed? Okay. No, all right. Then the minutes of March 6th, 2024 also stand approved as submitted. All right, then the financial statements, and Nicole will review those with you. We have the expenses of January, February, March, and April 2024. Nicole.
Sure. So we started the year January with 3 pay periods for regular employees. February, March, and April just had 2 pay periods for everybody. I will note that due to a credit card issue in December, we got a new card reissued to us. So some December payments were paid in January and February. So things like phone bills, trash, housekeeping supplies, that type of thing are a little doubled up in January and February. There was also an issue with our Verizon phone bill in February. They overcharged us for the 911 portion of the bill to the tune of about $900. So that was being credit for March and April and part of May, actually. We did make the following large payments in the time frame January to April. DoIT got both halves of its payment for the Department of Information Technology FEMA system. $8,744 was paid in February and April. They break it up for first and second quarters and then third and fourth quarters. We did pay for our budgeting software to $14,778. We did pay the Office of the Attorney General for Adam, $34,000. And the State Treasurer's Office, all of our insurance payments, which was $4,012. We also made payments for our down payment for an audit. We did make our final payment to WVU for the economic impact study of $2,450. January, although it's hard to remember snow when it's warm today, we did pay $3,300 for snow removal January and February. And we did pay out almost $12,000 just in mini grants. So that would take care of all the expenses on there. If anybody has any questions on that, and then we can move over to revenue. If we're good with that, all right. So revenue wise, rents, we're up to date and a little ahead with the exception of one tenant. A lot of our tenants are paying ahead, so April's payments sometimes may seem a little inflated. They're just paid through May. We did have one tenant expand, Jasmina Hair Salon, so she's got an additional line. She paid ahead. Her lease didn't start until May, but she made payments in April. We have started getting our parking fees from Park Mobile, and so far, January through April, we've received over $1,500, which is pretty much on par for what we would have gotten with the gates had they still been operating for that same time period. And we have rented out additional parking spaces since we have gone to the Park Mobile system. So we've got 6 additional annual passes and 1 monthly pass. We do still have about 20 available parking spaces. If anybody knows anybody who wants to rent a space, so that would help us immensely if we could get those rented, and hopefully we will. But that is all I have to report on.
Have any questions for Nicole? Do we have a motion to approve the financial and reports? Do we have a second? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, then the financials all stand approved as reported. Thank you, Nicole. The executive director's report, Dee.
Yes, thank you. First, I didn't even have this on my report, but I want to congratulate Tim Bolt because she got transitioned effective July 1st over to a full-time employee with a PIN for the state of Maryland, which is like unheard of. I've never seen anybody get converted that fast.
Well, I didn't do that. You did.
Well, I mean, we appreciate, the state of Maryland handling that for us. And my gosh, as you've seen, she's been a terrific asset to Canal Place.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm retired and then prescription benefits are in their salary.
Well, at least that's going somebody good. I also wanted to report that, as you all know, we did have fiber installed to the outside of our building. But we are having a heck of a time trying to get somebody to do the installation of the inside wiring to be able to utilize it. We just met with the first person that was going to do it said, I'm not going to do it anymore. The second person came, looked at it, said, nope, and we didn't hear back from them. So now we've got a third person that came in, I guess it was last week. We're hopeful that they're going to give us an estimate so we can start using the fiber optic that has been installed.
What's that? Was it electricians or what?
Yes, an electrician / probably wiring person.
I'm asking you who you proposed for.
Well, Dave Wilhelm from Dave's Communication that's done all our wiring.
Yeah, sure.
Well, right, he said no, he was gonna do it, but then he said no.
Okay.
And then there was another company that came in, Nicole, who was the other company that came in?
S&S Electric.
Yeah.
And then we never heard back, from them. Nicole sent them all floor plans and we just never heard back. So we had got a recommendation from Eric Andrews from Lonica. And so Eric came in, I believe it was last week, and he sounded hopeful. And they're, all local companies, which is good. We want to utilize them when we can. So we're waiting to hear back. Hopefully we'll hear back this week and or early next week.
Thank you.
Right. most of the last couple months has been, grants. Writing grants, reviewing grants, ranking grants. Kim was on the grant panel, panelist for the state, I couldn't be here, so she stepped in for me that day. And I'll talk more about what grants were submitted in the new business report. If you've been looking around outside, you'll notice that we got all new seal coat on the satellite parking lot, on the main parking lot here. It's all seal coated. We're still having HVAC done on the shops. I've got the State of Maryland Capital Budget Team coming up here this Friday to meet about, they want to see the river park and what the state's actually investing in. So they'll be up here on Friday morning. I also met with James Horse Camp about solar energy. Yeah. And we're gonna try to see if we can go all solar here at Alpes to help us with some of the electrical bills. I want everybody to take a look at upcoming events. We got the Lemon Series starting here. We've got Farmers Market every Thursday and Saturday. Farmers Market's been really happy over here, so we're grateful for them to come. But then we also have other events scheduled on festival grounds. I'll talk about the details later in life. Yes.
Assuming why we will talk about we celebrate.
That was the next. We're hoping so.
Crocodile that flies here.
Well, I do this. But
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, the National Park Service.
Sure. A couple things. The Encino Trust is our friends. They're looking at expanding the canal quarters program up this way. We're currently the westernmost quarters, which are local different lock houses that are running out. Great, successful program, but they'd like to have some in the west. And so they were looking at properties today, and I was with them. We're looking at some near Old Town, and then they went on down towards Hancock. But the furthest west we have right now is Lock House 49 and Four Locks. That's on the quarter, so that's something exciting. If one works out, of course, it'll take a big financial commitment to fix these up. To be able to finish this sites out. Work is underway right now, planning for stabilization of the Eva's Creek Aqueduct, just down the way. It hasn't really been stabilized since the 1970s, so it's going to be a big project. Still, the stone aqueduct is still there, but it needs a lot of work. So there's been a lot of activity in that. And then we had a River Park presentation at Park headquarters on April 17th. Jim Christie and Colin McCardle came and gave a presentation for park staff. So that was good to get the dialogue. Yeah.
How was that received?
Oh, pretty well. You can't tell for sure if people are. The questions were good. But yeah, I think it'll take some more interaction. But they're really good presentation. They were there probably about 2 hours. So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Very good.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you. That's all good news, actually. Okay, and more park related things, the old business River Park.
Yeah, later on, we're going to be talking about the RFP that came in. But as far as the River Park update, with help from John DeFonso from the city of Cumberland, the sediment testing RFP has been written. It's kind of we got to attach all the state documents to it, state attachments. And then I guess have a look at it one more time, but that RFP will probably be going out for sediment testing next week. So that's the next step. And the dam removal, for the dam removal.
Yeah. All right. Passages expansion.
Okay, and I guess we'll talk about a little bit about that at the end too. So the consultants are really moving along with the management plan update and the heritage area expansion countywide. They had done surveys, they had done interviews with stakeholders, and thank everybody that participated in that. In July, we're gonna be having, it'll be a board of directors meeting prior to, the Acorn Hill Strategies talking to y'all about management plan update, future county place kind of thing, and expanding on into Allegheny County. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be at that meeting. Again, Janice will remind you at the end that we're just going to go over everything down place. And the consultants will be there to help us move forward with the 5-year plan. Right now, we're working off the 3-year plan that I've written, just basically going on with the River Park and again, the expansion and just typical goals and objectives of the heritage area. So that'll be, I think July 30th.
July 30th,
Well, before.
in a peaceful setting.
In a peaceful setting at Evergreen, and but we will have, yeah, sure. We'll have this short meeting just to deal with all the things that may have come up between now and then, but I can face come to that. Lunch will be served. Lunch will be served at that meeting.
And no crocodile.
I think it's called 4.
Yeah. It's a new. And there's no Zoom connectivity for that. I'll remind again at the end of the meeting, but it's an in-person meeting. A lot of very important things to be reviewed and discussed. Okay, new business. The maintenance contract deal.
Yes, this is Tim Martin, home improvement, his contract renewal is coming up. Nicole, amount?
Yes, he is going up to $165,375 for fiscal year 25. It's an increase of 5% over his last year's. So $7,875 more than he was last year or this current year.
A lot of those fees are as a result of all the increasing fees that he gets from, everything. So, we appreciate it if we could.
Yeah, do we have any questions about that? Okay, do I have a motion to renew the maintenance contract?
I'm good.
Okay, do we have a second on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, then the renewal of the maintenance contract is approved. Okay, Dee Dee, the mini grant ratification, if you can brief us on that.
Okay, all right, we go ahead and do that. Well, I had sent out, I guess through email, the following grants. Allegheny County Tourism, they have a mini grant for, Museum Week advertising. Emmanuel Episcopal was the grand opening of Wolf Creek Museum, which I attended. Chris was there. Al, you were there, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I still give credit to Martha and Barbara for pulling that off. What they did. Emmanuel Episcopal also had a concert during that time. Allegheny County Historical Society was approved for a living history and heritage days. So that's what 2, 3, 4 mini grants that y'all approved ahead of time. We just need to ratify it in person.
So can we have a motion for ratification? Right, I'll have it.
I'll second, but what's the difference between approval and ratification? What's the process?
I think it had already been voted on electronically, right?
Yeah, we voted on electronically, but I guess legally you have to do it
Okay,
in person.
that's fine. Yeah, I second. Yeah.
Okay,
Adam could probably speak.
all in favor, say aye. All right, any opposed? All right, then they are ratified as presented. Okay, the RFP for the for project management as the written part.
Right, you all got a copy of this to review. Let me tell you. We had to have time with this. We tried to put it out contractually for one person to come in and be the project manager, based on the state's regulations for engineering. There was nobody. We had that out forever to become a contractual employee until the river park was done. So no luck. So then we went back and we revised and we put out the RFP for a consulting firm. And in that consulting firm, we looked for a multitude of experience, grant writing, because we want these people to be able to go after state, federal, any kind of grants they can find. That'll help pay for their salaries, but also be able to find grants for the river park and its amenities. We want somebody with capital budget experience, somebody with dam removal, Army Corps, NEPA. I mean, we looked for all that. It was pretty specific in the RFP. We had several phone calls and questions were asked, and who came back was this Ecologics, which I highly recommend because they have got everything that we're looking for. My gosh, the one guy used to be the secretary for the Maryland Department of Environment. A lot of them were state and federal employees and just kind of the background we need. Now, their prices, and I'm telling you, this is on par for the principal, $200 an hour, and their senior associates, $150 an hour. But that is the going rate. And we're gonna be looking at everything they do. They don't get paid based on tasks and sign off on tasks to make sure they're done before we sign off on anything, get them paid. But, I'm happy with this proposal. I really am.
I'll just comment that I was impressed with the credentials when I was there. Experience, so.
Well, we had a team from, like Bobby Smith from city. And I'd send it over to the county, to Barkley, go back and send it also. Actually, working, we all looked at it.
Bobby liked it.
Bobby liked it, yes. So everybody else was fine with it, so now I'm just looking. Like this would be a big deal to get this project moved.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the proposal for project manager? Okay, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Then the proposal stands accepted, Dee, and
Thank you.
you can get these people going. So,
Doesn't work, we're gonna blame the body, right?
yeah, he wasn't here, that's great. That's the way it goes.
Well, you're up.
Oh, yeah, but somebody who wasn't here. That's great. All right, so the MHAA project grant, Dee.
Right, well, I submitted or wrote and updated our annual plan and, wrote a grant for $100,000 for the Maryland Heritage Area Operating Grant, which that 100,000 that we get from the state, we match with special funds that we receive from town grounds, revenue from the festival grounds, things like that. I read the $25,000 block grant, which is the mini grants that we award, which just got done awarding. I think we're getting more of that now because we're no longer required to offer or for them to have like a max. So we're getting more and more mini grants. And I think when we expanded countywide that this one would be near enough money. And then we also, well, Kim, I can't say we, Kim wrote a project grant. Do you want to talk about that in a minute? You don't have to talk about it again, what that's about. You're all
Sure.
around.
Yeah, so long story short, it's an augmented reality experience that, after consideration of multiple companies, we ended up finding out that Allegheny County Tourism, I'm gonna move up because Allegheny County Tourism, their website actually offers that, so we can actually just tag onto theirs and purchase it as a module, which makes sense for the visitor, the experience. They only have to have one app, using one app versus having two. And then it's just gonna be really, really perfect timing with the expansion, because we'll be able to put in, add all these heritage assets. It's called Visit Widget is who will be going through. They do not, very unlikely, but they do not have a maximum on our locations. So we can have as many locations as we want. They know what they're signing up for, because when we go countywide, that could be a ton of locations. So what'll happen is your phone will ping when you're at a location that has a augmented reality experience, and you can open the app, and then we'll have overlays of what that location looked like back in the 1800s or in the 1900s. And there'll be, so there'll be old buildings, old historic buildings, old events, if it's a location where there was an event happening. And then we can do audios of the history that took place at those locations.
Where's the images and the history coming from? You.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that I've already, for 50 years.
Thanks for asking, Al.
Back in the run. No.
Yeah, I mean,
When I was in government, I used to think, hey, we pay consultants for this stuff, and we're giving away free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll come from multiple locations. I get that.
Whatever you need.
Okay. So yeah.
This is a wonderful thing, because you have so much.
Sure.
No.
And
Go back hotel.
But so much that can be shared now through this, that will go 70 more people and and that's
What are you growing at? Whatever.
boy, will educate a lot of people.
Whatever I have is useful, appropriate.
Yes. Right. And yeah, and very more now. Yes. Have you on speed up. Yeah. So we'll be, it'll be an ongoing project. Obviously, this year, the project grant pays for the initial cost, and, but, as we grow, we'll just continue to add locations. And
I think it's a great thing, because now just with briefly with my Evergreen hat on, we just started this year, piloted a social studies program for fourth graders, and we called it student time travel. And they start in the early 1800s, and then they go elsewhere on the property. It's late 1800s, and then early 1900s. I think this is a great way that we might be able to leverage this with the kids as well.
Oh,
to be able to
absolutely.
understand history.
I was thinking STD. No, STD. Okay. Forget it.
Well, it'd be really cool too, if we could do them on the mall. They can see the mall back, way back, all now.
Right.
I think it's super, it's accessible.
Yeah, and it can be changed out. So when people come, say we do that with the downtown mall, and then, we leave it for 2 or 3 years, and then knowing people are coming back, and we can change it to a different year and a different era.
We expanded that to Frostburg.
It'll encompass the entire heritage area, which is the entire county. So yeah.
The history, I would suggest, just be brief.
Yeah.
Not a.
Yeah, well, we'll be brief on the app, and then we'll always be directing them back to the website before expanding.
The big thing to me is really to have kids understand what life used to be like, because it's a big aha moment for life.
Well, and that's one of the appeals to it, is that you're taking what kids like now, which is technology, and you're marrying that with
Exactly.
history, which
Right.
kids might not necessarily like that much, and hopefully, yeah.
We saw the kids really got into it. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
You know how to interpret it, make it interesting, applicable, and plus stuff like floods and things like this, disasters, tornadoes. And you can, that opens up the door to others.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's a watered down version of the whole thing. Yeah.
So, and that will this year because Cumberland, it'll be within the existing boundaries till we get it expanded. And then they told us, MHA told us we could apply, and then next year they even add on, so.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, we called it phase 1.
Yeah,
So we can have as many phases as we want.
so there was that grant, and then, Kim actually worked with, Allegheny County Tourism, we're gonna be receiving some marketing money for the first time this year. So those are the grants that we put in for through Canal Place, and then the other grants that came in were Allegheny County Historical Society's curated offsite gallery exhibit, 28 Washington Street, Wolf Creek Museum Phase 2. So those were the projects that we ran, reviewed, and submitted this year. So it's been a busy time.
Phase 2 is the second floor where they're gonna talk about underground railroad. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, they're doing. I mean, the volunteers in this area are, it's amazing to know what they do and what they get done.
Now, is there more in their marketing strategy?
Well, I have Kim to tell you what all she's been doing as a marketing.
Okay, so I just have bulleted items. If you want me to expand on anything, I'll expand. Okay, so website, when I came on board, we had moved the website over and had a laundry list of changes. All of those changes are complete. We continue to update that accordingly. But if you jump on the website, you will see that there's been a lot of changes to the website. I'm not going to go into all of them, but you can jump on it and see them. You may have noticed we did add signage down on the plaza. We just added the events calendar for everybody that's, coming and going. And we added a River Park teaser down there with a QR code that people can be taken to the website page for the River Park information. We're holding our first ever National Road event here at Canal Place this weekend with a car cruise and a vendor show, Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully it's, a big success. I don't have, too high hopes. Car cruise, we don't have registration for, so I don't have any numbers. But it's our first go at the National Road, just trying to get in there. So we're excited to just be involved in it. The yard sale lot they're using the Times News lot. So we're a great location to be holding something here. So that's this weekend. We have ordered our first promotional items. You'll see your place setting there. You have, that is for hiking, for biking, for kayaking.
I was wrong. I thought it was my ankle brace.
Well, yeah. Wallet, or it's called a wrist wallet. You put your key, your money, your whatever in there. Whatever you need to put in there, Al, you put in there. We have been approved for 2 Maryland Corps members through the governor's office. They are to start in September and stay through June 2025. If you're not familiar with what that is, a very, very brief synopsis. It's a governor's initiative for high school students or students that are in college, taking a gap year, that kind of thing. I'm kind of going to lead that up with, a lot of marketing tasks for them, because students, young people kind of like that thing. And then we'll be giving them a lot of administrative type work. Fingers crossed. This is the first year for this program. So we don't really know, what to expect there, but we're gonna get them on board in September. We shot our first promotional video for the Gap and CNO Trail last weekend. Dee Dee had some connections with some folks that were coming in from Hawaii and California. Thought that was a super cool opportunity to talk to people coming that far to ride those trails. So in the middle of editing that, it's going to be really cool to share their story with people and share like why you would come that far to do these trails. So hopefully you'll see that on social media and our website and YouTube channels within the next few weeks, I'd say. We submitted the MHA grant together with Allegheny County Tourism, which Dee Dee talked about that a little bit ago, to support some of our expenses this year in marketing, which will include like the show display, online advertising, more promotional materials, those kind of things. The MHA submitted project. I don't know what I was trying to say there. I'm gonna skip that one. Submitted a grant through the city of Cumberland for matching funds for the MHA grant. So we're waiting to hear what happens there. And then we also submitted a PPD, preliminary project description, for an ARC grant for dedicated river park marketing. So if we are approved for that, we have a lot of things rolled into that because, you know, we're getting to that point with river park. It'll be 35,300. So if we're approved for that, we will transition from a page on the website for River Park to a dedicated River Park website. And then just, you know, social media marketing, print marketing. We really want to get out there what we're doing, what's coming, get people excited. Print, social media, online, all that kind of advertising will come with that. A show display so we can be out at community events talking to the community about the river park and why they should be excited about it, support it. So
That's
more
important.
That's it.
Right, that's wonderful.
Three quick things.
Mhm.
The Juneteenth event, the Pride Festival, the Leopard Concert Series, and the Atomic Concert Series band.
Mhm.
The Maryland 250 Commission has a statewide calendar of events.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to maybe get these particular type of events on their statewide calendar for, you know, for the
Sure.
upcoming year, so people coming out there. Also, for a long time, and I mentioned this up in Garrett County a couple of days ago, Tiffany Abel still with the National. Are they ever going to replace that Savage Mountain marker that's at the top? Right when you cross.
Yeah.
I've been pushing that. We had that put up 25 years ago, and got knocked off. They've never replaced it.
Were you in the committee for that with State Highway there a couple of years ago? I was.
Since I retired, but I was on a couple.
Yeah. I was on a committee a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a go and it was a done deal, and I don't think they've done anything.
That's where I don't know what.
Yeah.
And that was my done deal about 15 years ago. And the ARC grant, is that, you may not know, is that going into the regular project package, or they still have this at discretionary grant program? Because 30,000 would fit under that, you know, that.
We submitted it through the county. We didn't submit
Okay,
it.
that means it would be going through the
Yeah.
project package. I don't know how things, I've been retired now for almost 10 years, so. But, you know, there was always that little bit of discretionary funds.
Mhm.
That for smaller type projects that didn't fit into the big capital things, and like this. There might have been funds to be made available for that, or at least partial. It might be worth talking to David about that.
I thought he had steered you though to where.
Well, the county.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes, because I'm defunct, so.
Well, here's the deal with that. We might need to tap into discretionary funds for this augmented reality case other things too.
I
Because
got,
it was approved for ARC funds, so.
you know more about than I do at this point. And
David has been wonderful.
he's a great guy. Bill trains him well. And let's try and get the governor.
He's supposed to come with his family, early summer.
Okay, and that's all I have. That's all. Thank you for your patience with me.
He's doing an amazing job.
Thank you for your patience. with me.
Okay, anything else on the marketing, and we'll move into the last.
And all this, we're updating all this. In place too, that's being done as we speak. That's gonna happen too. So
And a new backdrop for the,
yes, you got
Okay.
your total tags from the city and I'm trying to get somebody to do that. I don't know, it's fine.
A lot of good things came out of the March 6th information session, I thought, with more people interested, particularly once they understood that the river park is not just for attracting more folks to the region, it is also for the people who live here. And I think a lot of people were very happy to hear that. And so we need to make sure that we keep informing everybody that we can as to what the bigger picture is.
yeah, we had, over 150 people at that meeting, and we've had, over 320 views on the YouTube meeting, or on the video.
As someone who grew up here, there's many generations that aren't even aware of the river. I mean, you know it's here, but you can't even
No, I
see
know what
it.
you're saying.
And even legally access it.
Yeah.
So, Jim and Christy and Cardle, I provided them after they gave our presentation, tons of historic photos. Because they weren't aware that that was historically a recreation area before the flood control, back when the Potomac Club was.
Ice skiing, swimming club, sailboats, everything, camping. Cardinal Club.
Yeah,
How
so
about
that's great interpretation potential.
I think that's wonderful because so many of, and it's not just the young kids, but so many of the adults don't know history. And so we have so many assets we can leverage here and educate people.
Thank you.
Yes. This is really, all the marketing efforts are really making a difference. Really making a huge difference, and we've got a lot of good things to promote. So this is what rarely say, hold your, hide your bushel under a basket. So we don't want to do that. Okay, the winery. Deanna really understood that either. If you had a basket upside down and you had goods under it, that wasn't a good thing. Anyway, the winery financial update, is Nicole doing that or who is doing that?
No, I just, they provided you with all the financial documentation, the background that, yeah, Harris Winery is just 10,579. And we're not too big for that. No, it's the website, no, we can't just close. Yeah. No,
Is there anybody from the media on?
nobody's here, but we're not around there. We're supposed to.
So
Yeah, he popped on. Yeah, so, I wrote numerous letters. I probably talked to that person.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
That's my design.
So I believe the last letter that I sent him, I asked to please pay up by the end of June because that starts our fiscal year. We're being audited right now as we speak. It's just not a good look. And that puts us behind. And $10,000 to us might not seem like a lot.
That's all.
It's, yeah. So, like I said, I gave him till.
It's not period that 10,000 just this fiscal year. It was to go back for
It starts, well, it started in December.
so this fiscal year. It's
Yeah.
not like something that's covered within previous years. Or is it always been on? Just generally, it would be like.
Sometimes it was behind. Generally speaking.
So what is Adam's recommendation? Adam, do you have any recommendations?
Can you,
Nicola,
can you restate what you want my recommendation of? When I hear Dee Dee, I can barely hear what Dee Dee is saying.
I can't go.
Go ahead, Judy.
Oh, they're asking for recommendations on what we do about Karis Winery being late. And I told him that I gave him till the end of June to pay up, because I wanted to pay it up before the end of the fiscal year.
Right, and you had sent them earlier letters that were in compliance with the lease agreement that was giving them the appropriate opportunity to cure this breach, right?
Yes,
Right, so you were giving them notice that you wanted them to get it all cleaned up by the end of June, and they haven't done so,
correct.
right? Well, I mean,
Yes,
because you've already complied with the notice provisions of the lease that, require you to alert them to the fact that you're declaring them in default and giving them a kind of a curative period. And if they're not complying with the curative period, then you can proceed to terminate the lease.
the lease comes due. Nicole, when does the lease come due?
The lease ends the end of January or end of June as well, so.
And you could just say you're not renewing it.
All right.
So question. I'm not saying I'm in favor or not in favor of terminating lease, but we've had some tenants in the past that have been very delinquent. Credit paper, we call it, is one that I'm thinking about. I was always consistent in my mind of, we let them go for a long time, and I know you through a lot of effort.
And Hutch too.
Yeah, so I'm just, my only opinion is, as long as we're consistent with how long we've given people to do something or whatever, I just don't wanna be totally over the top with Karis if we were in the most recent history, is all I'm saying.
Now, at one tenant, we, went to collections. We did it that route. There's always that opportunity.
you say Karis responded or they haven't responded or?
Now, he's responded. And he's been paying, some funds. Little by little. But not.
Was this seasonal? So like the season,
Well,
chunk during summer and then has difficulty in December.
he
January.
started distributing to the liquor stores. He started distribution. I would say, because, what he does. And Christmas is always wine giving season. Summer, of course, he has walk-ins. I mean, I wouldn't say it's seasonal, but I'm not him. I mean, you drink wine, what do you think?
Yeah, he seems, I mean, he's open most of the year. I mean, it's not.
But I honestly, I'm not trying to be, I don't know, he has expanded tremendously with regards to his product offerings and things like that, and this seems, I know he's probably somewhat behind, most of the tenants usually are. But I'm just trying to think through, as he, had a high expense period this past year or two because of all these issues, the equipment probably had to purchase for his brandies and everything else he's doing. Just wondering, because I don't know if it's the fact that his business is slowing down, or if he's just blowing through a lot of cash trying to expand. I'm just trying to figure that one out, because I thought he was doing very well. But again, we could just miss.
Well, I was wondering, I think with one of our tenants at one point, we tried to sit down with them and create a payment schedule kind of thing. So if that's something we've done with another tenant in the past, perhaps that's the next step. If there's some sort of a payment schedule that can be worked out, which might also help with the auditors, Dee, I don't know.
I asked him to come up with a payment schedule.
Yes,
And I have not going that other than he comes in and pays $100 here, $100 there. And I'm gonna tell you, I mean, that's nice it does that, but that causes, it's like a fiscal nightmare for us. I mean, it might sound like that's no big deal, but it's a big deal when we have to do it all the time. look, I don't wanna terminate, I mean, I think he's a good business to have here. And I know he's done fundraisers, he's got one going on right now, he had one last year.
Well, I think maybe the thing that might make sense, and I'd like to know what the rest of the board thinks about it, is sitting down and working out some sort of payment schedule with him that is not come in and give you $100 periodically, but it is this month it's X and next month it's Y, et cetera, and see if he will commit to that. And this, as we retain him as a tenant.
I go along with that. And I think the point about consistency and he's now marketing to liquor stores or something. And I go along with that payment plan. Let's give him every
Yeah,
chance.
he was, I just, interested that I did see that, he's trying to raise cash.
He's doing it now, and he did it last year, he had a fundraiser. 'Cause
So I think, and so let's see what kind of response you get. They will actually sit down with you and give you something that's predictable, that you know, you can say,
Either comply with it or doesn't.
yeah, this is, I'm committing to give you this much, this much, this much, and this much over time.
Thank you, Dee.
Yes, I will definitely revisit.
Any other,
Just
yeah, go ahead, Brad.
point. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to put down a policy of sorts of this is what we do with running like that. So we're
Yeah.
not having to rely on our 30-year history of back rent payments. And, we actually, send out the what?
1978,
Yeah, that makes sense.
first tenants at Western Maryland.
What, you know, that,
Yeah, I don't even do that, please.
All right, anything else on this? Okay. All right, any public comment? I don't know that we have anyone that make a public comment. No, we don't. Okay, before we adjourn, I would want to again reiterate what Dee Dee was talking about. The next meeting on July 30th, which will be on July 30th, will be hosted at the Evergreen Heritage Center. And after a brief board of directors meeting, there's going to be really a reorientation regarding Canal Place for all the board. So we're going to be reviewing, gee, what was Canal Place supposed to be about to begin with? What are we doing? What are the things that we're committed to? And having that create a context for then the briefing by Acorn Hill talking about the heritage area expansion. So we think that's a good time to step back and say, okay, this is what we've been all about and why the heritage area expansion is so important to us. So the meeting is going to begin at noon on July 30th, if you would make note of that. Of course, a different location, which I'll give you in a second, and lunch will be served to the board members. So the address would be 15603 Trimble Road, Northwest, Mount Savage, and 21545. So that's where we'll be, and depending on the weather, we'll either be in the barn or in the pavilion, or we'll be in the learning center if it's torrential downpour. So but we will be somewhere with the audio visual support that we need.
And we'll send out the address.
No doubt. Well, what about our resumes or our biographies? And
Speak to the lady behind you.
yeah, I tailored mine to what I felt you needed, and I put a lot of lines in it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, for anybody who didn't send, just, I'm sure most of you, probably all of you have a headshot. We're just gonna be adding those to the website and a brief bio. That again, that's just an effort to, we're a state agency, but we want our community to know we're governed locally and locally have a voice. So that's a good way to get that across, just to have our
and my-
pictures. Well, no,
That's mine anyway, you want to take
okay,
out.
I was gonna put some hair on you. Are you good with that?
Okay. Seriously, that's
No.
mine. I put in stuff, that you can feel free to take any of that out.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Okay.
You're not, you're not.
I'd have to get back to work.
All right. Thank you all very much. Yes.
Yes, oh, yes, we are. 22 and 23 is happening right now. And pretty soon it'll be 24. Yeah,
And one more piece of news, if you don't mind, I just thought of this while I was staring at the railroad trash. I haven't been over here in a while, but I came up when the flood control was really high a couple months ago. And I know you brought it up before, the trains sitting here. I assume they're still sitting.
Yeah.
So it had been the first time I wandered up this way for a while. That is a freaking mess up there. So I want to bring this up since there's a media subject. But I would really like to help you or whatever it's going to take to figure out what, in my interpretation, this station is on a storage yard for freight trains. It needs a mess back. I mean, I'm wandering around in the middle of the day, and not to mention all the trash bags tied to all the platforms.
Yeah.
And then people are laying on them, and you don't know which way they're coming from. It's shit. Not only is it the view shed, it is a mess. It is unsafe over there. You can't cross the tracks anymore, like to really walk across, because the trains are right smack in the middle of them.
right,
And it's not, and you know what, if it was some sort of a historic passenger car or cabooses over there, that's a whole other ballgame. But not there, I assume that they're the property of Western Railroad Railroad, or they CSX. So as I was sitting here, again, I hadn't thought about much time sitting over there, and I would love to know what the lease is. Because the county owns tracks, correct?
right.
Have you looked up to see what they're allowed to build their tracks over?
When they were allowed to have rolling stock cars back in the day, I haven't seen the new lease. I mean, the lease with us is different than obviously the one to do with the county.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, I don't know, like, again, I haven't looked at either one.
Yeah.
But what our lease is with them to be able to use the platform. And then secondly, the county owns tracks, so what are they allowed on the county track? So I want to bring it up on the record.
Okay.
And whatever help you may need or whatever to explore that professionally and really see what a good alternative would be for them. That's not the place for the trains. They move.
I will bring this up because I just like trains, so I pay attention to them. The cars that are up front now, those are historic cars that they'll put on their photo chart, so they're older freight cars. Now, I think it's that direction.
Yeah,
Those other ones, those are just generic run of the mill. CSX donated them because they have that freight contract now.
Yeah.
So those down there that look like they were used by CSX, those are just newer ones. But the ones,
Yeah, the ones on the front here, the ones back on the bridge over there.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and those are just, I was thinking of that at the CCTE graduations. Like, man, would have been nice if they had either shoved those a little bit further down or moved them out of the way because they are in the background of like all of our shots of everything.
Well, as Adam Snyder would say, maybe we can cure this breach.
It's a bridge. I mean, it's pretty easy enough, because then you say, hey, so we can't do this. And then move, but-
Here's the thing that we have a problem with. Tim can't get around the trains to clean up anything. I mean, you can't without walking way down or way out. When I had people up here, like the capital budget people that come in with the governor, and then the lieutenant governor come up here. I'm tired of, I'm just gonna say it, I'm tired of the fight. I'm not doing, I mean, Tim shouldn't have to do that. Those people live behind there. They throw the trash, they drink the drinks, they throw the needles, they go to the bathroom. And then, and I finally said,
To tear off the bricks too, because
they do, part of the creek.
I walked from Washington State across the bridge and the bricks are slowly retreating away from the edges.
We're gonna have that concrete.
Why did you do that?
Because they can.
They don't.
And you said what's on top of my numbers.
Yeah.
But
I've had the birthing executives walking across there.
And it's scary. I mean, Kim and I, when we were
Taking photos for River Park.
taking photos for the river park and, I mean, you're afraid to walk by and we're trying to work with the police department to deal with the trespassers, but it's, again, we have the no smoking ordinance there to try to keep them. But nobody, I can't enforce it because I'm honest to God afraid to. I'm not approaching those people. But the city cops told us to put that no smoking ordinance there so they could arrest them. But then if you talk to any city police, and you've heard this too, they arrest them. They let them go up on the hill.
That's,
And
and this,
then
none of
they're-
this is state property.
It's all state property.
Hey, Adam, would the Department of General Services police have a group out here?
No.
No?
No,
Not
no, I
on-
talked with them. I talked with them and they basically said what Dee Dee said, that, you should work with local police officers to post the area, put up use restrictions and then have local law enforcement enforce those restrictions. They said they could work with us if we, if nothing is working, to try to come up with some other approach, but that's what they said is all we could do.
No presence or anything.
Well, Stu, I mean, I would appreciate it because I get no response from.
Well, I think the first thing, I don't know if it's Adam or whoever, if we can review the leases at least to see what, if at all, there's any restrictions of what can and can't be on there. Because that'd be the easiest route to go, in my opinion. If they're breaching something, then fine. And then if it's silent on those issues, then I would like to put our heads together and talk to the right people, and you know how that goes. And I'd be willing to do that to a point.
Yeah.
So to make sure it happens. So, but we need to, I want to make sure we look at the leases first.
As I said, at the very least, if the governor's coming up, you might just want to drop a word and it's like, hey, you get state funding from Maryland. So you might want your tracks and trains to be looking good for when the governor swings by.
Well, that
Kind
might do
of
something.
tickle their own self-interest.
That might do something.
Yeah. Well, they did think that.
But because if they do want to look bad in front of the governor, one of the things we talk with various nonprofits all the time. If you want to get more funding, then you better look like you're a good steward of the funding you're getting. And so a bad front is not a good thing. Something they might
It would
want to
make
think
it,
about.
just come back up again November, for the Baltimore Street review.
For the one.
Baltimore Street review.
That's November 14th.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
You'll
He'll be back for that too.
I
So,
think Senator McCann raised 1.5 million for the bridge.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you all for your comments, and we will follow up. So I would like to ask for adjournment on about 2:33. Do I have a motion to adjourn? I thank you. Do I have a second? Brad, thank you very much. All in favor, say aye. All right, thank you. Any opposed? All right. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you live.
Have a very nice one.
Thank you, everybody. Stay on the house.
Oh.